TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot.
Sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. It's that time of the morning, the week, Korn Flakes and Crack, with good friend and colleague, Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Go follow him at Bill Crackman at Crack Wins. Survive and advance. That's actually what life's all about, is surviving and advancing. And in sports, in the tournament situation, as we witnessed over the weekend, it's what it's all about, whether it's a turnover, whether it's a botched extra point, whether it's a drop 2-point conversion. There's 4 teams left standing. As soon as the game's over, the dust settles, boom, opening lines go out there. Sharps like Billy and a bunch of others are just jumping and pouncing on those numbers. So be interesting to see what Billy has to say after the dust has settled and we've had a full, 12, 15 hours to digest what's going on. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It's free. Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors now, 2 new ones, Lemon, and the East Coast is Cuckoo for coconuts. And of course, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Go to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Use the promo code STEAKS10. Any questions, comments, concerns, you'll get 10% off. Head on over to Facebook, Terry Smith. Go follow him, and he'll answer every question. So without further ado, the star of this show, the one and only, Mr. Bill Krackomberger.
Good morning. How are we doing? Okay?
We're doing a lot better than a lot of people right now. And it's kind of comical, Billy. You've been down this lane a bazillion times. I've been down this lane a bazillion times. Now, back in my younger days, I'd be scrambling right now. I'd probably be on my way to New York City, because I got to pay the North End this afternoon, and I got to pay Federal Hill tomorrow morning. I don't have to do that anymore. The dust is settled. Tell us how your weekend went, Billy.
Yeah, it was okay. I did good on props the first game. So the first day, I mean. Second day, I did okay. Listen, this time of the year, these markets are so efficient. Even the prop market's very tough to beat, some of these markets. So, listen, it's going to be profitable if they let me bet the secondary markets, like proposition bets, quarters, and stuff like that. But a lot of the sports books, they're limit you on that type of stuff, especially where you are, up where you are, the FanDuels and DraftKings of the world. They don't like guys that just bet props. They don't like people that bet props at all. I don't know why they even offer them, to be honest with you. So, but it's pretty amazing, actually. The more I think about it, I walk into and the guys are so nice to me up there, and oh boy, it's FanDuel at Mohegan Sun. So they're they're very nice to me. The people there that work behind the counter, the supervisor, the director, they all come out and they know me from shows and very friendly. And they even try to get bigger bets approved. When I ask for like $1,000 bet, the machine automatically says $250. And it's kind of embarrassing for them to, people are betting more than that on a pull of a slot machine over there. That's big action there. And for them to limit everyone, Joe Public, it's kind of an insult sometimes, but they call the home mothership, and sometimes the $1,000 bets get approved, and I'll say most of the time, but I sat there behind someone online. I put it up on Twitter actually about 3 months ago, and I couldn't believe what I seen. This guy, they had one window open, and this guy was betting 800, 1,500, 2,000, 500, 700. And I counted up his bets. He had like 40 bets. And I watched him there, and he wound up paying, his tickets were about 25,000. Every bet was on a straight NFL bet. I couldn't believe you can come up with 40 different bets on an NFL Saturday for Sunday, on NFL Sunday. 40 bets he came up with. And I even questioned him at the end. I was nice to him. And he said, yeah, he bets every week. He bets almost every side and total on the board. And I just thought that's exactly what every sports book wants. Of course, he's not getting denied anything. The guy had no, we have no chance to win. I actually felt bad for the poor guy's a victim. But that's the way these sports books want you to bet. And listen, the more I've evolved a little bit, I kind of get it. It's a business. I get it. But I still think you should take bets off Bill Krackomberger and move your lines to make them more efficient for the customers that come up. Now you have an efficient line. You're booking at both ways, minus 115 on these proposition bets. But anyway, we move ahead. I'm going to need Kansas City next week, a rare time I'll give out a side on an NFL game. But to be fair, I bet him at Pick'em. So I bet him at Pick'em when the line came up at Circa here. I bet it right away at Pick'em. And not that it's any much big edge. It's pick minus 25 now. It's not really a great edge, but that's why I just think that Kansas City had no respect here. I mean, Buffalo won because of Baltimore's mistakes, especially in the first half. Turnovers. Like, how can you not give Kansas City any respect here and make them the favorite, a 1-point favorite, or they're home, maybe a 2-point favorite, or they come right out with a pick 'em. That means that literally Baltimore would have came in. If Baltimore wins, they would have been a 1.5 point favorite at Kansas City. Oh my God, I would have liked them. I would have liked Kansas City in that spot too. So Mahomes, he just knows how to get things done this time of year. The great coach over there for years. They just know how to get things. They know how to win games this time of the year when it counts. You see how good Kelsey looked. This is his time to shine, and just the whole team gels, especially playoff time. So I see them going back to the Super Bowl again. We'll see what happens.
Got a couple points I want to bring up. How sharp Vegas is, especially this time of year, of course. And I'm like you, I'm trying to go down the less traveled lanes. First half, Kansas City and Houston, under/over 21.5. Kansas City's team total 13.5.
Yep.
Texans team total 7.5. Kansas City favored by 6.5. Halftime score: Kansas City 13. Texans 6. I'm going to go to a number that just stuck in my craw the whole time. Buffalo, Baltimore, over under 51.5. I had 55 on my notes when it first came out. I'm like, what am I missing here? Maybe the weather, whatever. They would not get off 51.5. You talked about the 3 turnovers by Baltimore. Obviously, we're going to talk about the drop 2-point conversion. 27-25 lands on 52. Oh, by the way, Ravens team total 26.5. Billy, it just
it's amazing
ends.
You're saying this. I'm just waking up maybe Monday morning not thinking how many of these games, even the Kansas City, I'm sorry, the Philadelphia game landing on 6 or 7, which it was 6 in the morning when I woke up before I did my Fox show. It was 6 Saturday night, and that game landing on 6, and it could have landed on 7. The first game, the Kansas City game, landing right on 9. I mean, these games really, the market's that efficient. The advantages of living in Las Vegas, Jeff. You could see here. I don't know if you could see it. Probably won't zoom in there. The advantages of living in Las Vegas. 53, I had at the win on that total, under 53. It just, having the extra 1.5 there was 51.5 on the board. Having the extra 1.5 there, you could see that made me a winner on that. I just knew the value was 53, but I easily could have lost. The guy dropped a 2-point conversion. I mean, but still, living here, having that one sports book that hangs at 53 compared to the rest of the world, there is advantages of getting those little half points. I love when people say, it's a half point. If you like a -6, you can like a -7. I seen Fezzik was in a little bit of an argument with a couple of real, I don't even know what I can't, but I tell you what, I am getting personally, I told my assistant last night, I am getting burnt out of going back and forth with people and trying to teach people that just want to have their own opinions, their own egos, their own. My stuff that I do comes off of many, many years of working with the sharpest syndicate groups in the world. I mean, and when I say syndicate, I mean, of course, sports betting syndicates in the world. I've worked for I think, the best guy in the world. I work for the best groups in the world. I work with the best people in the world, the sharpest people. Some of them wouldn't be able to function on a phone call, or even better yet, some of them wouldn't be able to function taken into a dinner, sitting down in social situations. I could think of the one kid, he wouldn't be able to handle it. He wouldn't be able to handle talking. And it's funny, some of these originators, some of these bugs, we'll call them, geniuses, they would actually fail making the bets because they would get too much emotion involved, or they wouldn't know how to bet. They wouldn't know where to bet. They wouldn't know how to bet the market so it didn't move. Like, in other words, let's say you like something, you say, oh, I like this. And Circa has it too. You don't go to Circa, you go to Circa last, because once you hit Circa, the rest of the world sees it. And if you hit a Circa or a Chris or a Pinnacle or something, somewhere that's a major eyeballs on, well, then the rest of the world moves. But let's use Circa, though. So honestly, if we're betting enough money and a lot of money, we probably should bet Circa the wrong way. So if it's a smaller market, maybe a college basketball total, we would want to bet Circa maybe the wrong way if we're betting enough money where we think it's justified that a 1-point move equals so much of a dollar amount. So, yeah, we can go anywhere with this show. I didn't know where I was going to talk about. That's something. But yeah, that's the situation with me as of right now, and that's the situation with this coming up weekend. Very efficient lines. It takes a lot of money to move these markets and stuff. And just like you started out with here, I can go on and tell you how many different lines here. Like, perfect example. Nobody should have lost the Kansas City game. If you're on Kansas City, you're either pushing or winning. All you have to have is outs. All you have to have is different places to bet. I mean, there was 8s and 8.5s all week. There was 9 and 9.5s, and even 10 dog 20 an hour before the game. Game time, the line closed at 9. So I knew right away to put that tweet up that said the word fix, fix, fix. That's what all the sports books. I said, word on the street is at all the sports books, the biggest 3-letter word was fix all over the town and all over. And, no matter what, I went to dinner last night with a buddy of mine. And he was the guy. He was Frank Sinatra's right-hand man for years. He did everything for Frank. And I had him on one of my shows. I got to be friends with him. And so he tells me, he says, hey, Billy, he goes, wow, one of my friends just called me and said, it's amazing these guys drop passes purposely. I said, what? He said, yeah, they know what they're doing, man. They drop these passes. These are scripted like WWF. I said, honestly, I'm just sick and tired of hearing stupid shit. I'm just sick. I am. And I'm wrong. I'm wrong for getting upset at anyone. I'm just sick and tired of hearing stupid things. People look for excuses when they lose, Jeff. They, God forbid, they look in the mirror. No, they look to, that guy did this and this guy did that and he did that and he missed this. You know, and you and I could bet opposite sides of a game. Well, not you and I. Let's use customer A and customer B. At the end of the game, customer A and customer B both are going to say they should have won because they only look through a lens at their side. They only look through the lens at their side, what they're looking at. So A will say, yeah, this guy dropped this pass, this guy fumbled, and customer B, yeah, I missed this and I should have done that, and they did it, and he just missed that. They don't look at the other side to see what happened. So, yeah, you're catching me on the Monday morning when I even, like I said, told my assistant last night I'm getting sick and tired of seeing stupid stuff from these kids on the internet and everyone saying that, the games are fixed. This is rigged. They get paid 30, 40, 50 million a year. They're going to rig it against your $65 bet. Give me a break.
It's so funny that you're saying this because I woke up this morning and I did my morning routine. And Billy, I'm thinking the same thing. I go onto the internet yesterday and refs fix. And you talk about these trolls. Now we've been doing this publicly now for 10 years. My first wager was in 75 Red Sox Reds World Series. Of course, I was on the Red Sox. I lost my first 50 cents in 75. The rest is history, of course. But the social media, the platforms, the big stages, the check marks, and the blowhards, and everything is about a ref to fix. The fix is in. They want Kansas City. And I really just want to. I was almost applauding that TikTok was going to be officially off the map.
I would have been fine with that.
That's one less platform I would have had to worry for. I'm going to segue right in here. Emil Kulskar and Danny Hoven, good friends here from Port Alberni, British Columbia. He asked a great question. He goes, how do you determine if a line switch from a favorite to an underdog or vice versa is legitimate or something to tail or just a head fake to be faded? And for me, I follow 50 sports books. I like the stock market. I get every bell and whistle. I know where to focus, the copy and paste, the fake steam. And sometimes that fake steam allows me to jump in with the value side. A 10.5 got fake steam to 7.5, and I can jump on it. For you, Billy, how do you determine? Do you have certain go-to spots where you're like, that's the number?
Yeah, I use a sports book on the screen. And first of all, it matters how serious you are. If you're serious and want to make this a career or even a part-time career, you have to have a live odds service. I'm not recommending any of them. You know what? I would recommend Spank Odds.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend that. So there's indicators on that screen that I like to watch. I like to watch the Bet Online market, the Jazz sportsbook market, of course, the Circa market. Like I said to you, Pinnacle Live Odds, maybe even Chris, but I'll put those 4 ahead of Chris. I use them as indicators to see which way the market's going. If you have slow moving sports books, all you have to do is follow that screen. Follow where Circa's going. The rest of the world's going to go to it 90% of the time. So, I'll mention them. Like if you have stations here, if you have the Win, if you have Boyd Gaming, Coast Casinos, Treasure Island, these are all slow-moving sports books that maybe don't subscribe to the live odds service, or maybe they just take a bet, or maybe they just throw you out if you bet that stuff like Stations does. So you have to be careful. You have to do it carefully. Just because now I'm paying $500 a month for a screen, and you understand they should pay $500 a month for a screen, meaning the sports book. Like, why do I get penalized because I'm doing my research and I'm betting stuff that's moving, or it's called chasing steam. Now, I don't really do it anymore because I work with some of the best originators in the world, because I want to make sure, like that person asked the question, and thank you for that question, and thank you for following the show from up there in British Columbia. That's where you said they are? Is that what you
Yes.
said, Jeff? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for following me and my stuff. I don't know if it's real or not. There's not a lot of manipulation like there was years before. Years before, I personally, on an overnight basketball game, especially around the number 2 or 3, if the line was 2 or 3, I would bet the wrong way the night before the game for a couple $1,000, and I would watch the entire screen move a full point from -3 to or from -2 to -3. Meanwhile, I want the dog. So the 3 was being so valuable. Now I would come back at all the sports books I'm allowed to come back at, or I would try to wait overnight, and hopefully it's the next day when there's more of a efficient market, a bigger market, and I would bet 10 times that amount the other way. So, but there's not a lot of that. I don't see a lot of that anymore, like there was back 10 years ago, and especially 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I started out 30 years ago. It was amazing. It was an amazing market, lots of middles and scalps. That has gone away. I haven't middled or scalped purposely in over a decade and a half. But I built my bankroll up doing that because I knew where those indicators in the market were, and I knew I had those advantages. But there's many people much better than me at scalping and middling. I'm just betting to win. It's so hard to scalp and middle, and people think sometimes they have an edge when they don't. I know a smart group too, that went bust middling college football totals. It's that tough. But now when it comes to these type of games, the NFL, I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest sports bettors in the world tries to middle and scalp around 3, the number 3 in the NFL. Well, think about it. That's the number that comes out the most. It's a number that's it happens a lot, but nothing like it did before they moved the extra point 10 yards, before analytics came in the game, before they went for 2-point conversion. It was worth so much more back then, but yet you get penalized now even worse because people talk about it. So you get penalized worse, and you have to lay much more money when it comes to the 3. You're laying a lot more juice to buy on and off of numbers. Teaser markets now are really efficient. There's not many places left. I had a dozen places that charged even money for 6-point teasers. I used to lay $1.15 and $1.20 for 7-point teasers. Now you got books charging $1.60 for the same. It's unbeatable. There's no pro can beat that, laying $1.50. I can't beat laying $1.40. So it's very, very interesting. The market itself, though, has changed tremendously, and so I don't think, to answer that guy's question, to finish answering it, I think that it's tougher now to manipulate. So I don't do that. I just think that you have to get at markets early Sunday night or early Monday morning, I should say. That's when I do a lot of my betting. I don't know anyone. That's right. I don't know anyone that can beat the NFL betting the day of the game on a side or maybe even a total. Now, I showed you that I bet under 53. I bet that yesterday, right at game time, because the win had 53 and the rest of the world had 51.5. I already leaned to the under anyway. Joe Public and everyone's betting over. So I bet under 53, and look what happened. I landed on 52. And even though I could have went over 51 minus $1.11, I still didn't middle that. I just left the 53 under, and got lucky actually too. I got lucky. Missed a 2-point conversion. Just got lucky. So there you have it.
Richard Poplis, Jeff, hope you and Bill keep this show year round. So do we. We're working hard on that great content. Thank you. Go Yukon, go Huskies. Russell Saylor, if you're betting the dogs, it pays to wait until game day. That is correct. Of course, if you like a favorite early in the week, get it. Actually, you better buy it then, because if you wait till kickoff, usually it will go up. Dog, you can get a big cut.
I don't know where Russell is, but Russell's he comments a lot on Twitter and stuff. Good guy. Russell, if he's in Vegas or something, he's right about that, because we have places here that hang some low fruit, man. If you're allowed to bet at those places I talked about, the stations, the coast, the maybe the TIs, even the Win, they hang some prices, man. At game time, he's right. You get half a points around the key numbers too. Buffalo played New England a few weeks ago, not the last week of the season, but it was like week 16 or something, or 15. And Buffalo was a 14-point favorite everywhere, 13 and a half, 14s. Well, sure enough, stations here hung a 14 and a half. So, you get those half points, man. It's very, very important. And he's right. Normally, living in a town where you have locals and stuff, you have a good advantage taking those dogs last minute. He's right.
He said, yeah, I bet offshore. Texans and Rams both paid only if you waited. Before I get to the final question here, it's Monday. It's a holiday Monday. People that had a bad weekend, looking at the national championship game, Ohio State, Notre Dame, that number's been hung for a while now. And then, of course, you wake up to Washington and Philly. We didn't even talk about that. We knew there would be a train wreck coming this past weekend, and my gut didn't have the Lions losing. Hats off to Jaden Daniels. Hats off to Coach Quinn and Mr. Kingsbury there. They go now for the three-peat, meaning the third game. They're 1-1 against Philly. Opening number, Philly -5 with a 48. You were correct. Kansas City was a pick at 48. Now -1.5 Philly with a 48.5 there. People wake up and like, damn, I got to get my money back. What better way than, boom, the national championship football game? And maybe I can buy some early fruits on next Sunday's, championship Sunday games. It's just the definition of insanity, Billy. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results here. Here you're betting into a game now that opened 9.5 with a 46, now 8.5 with a 45. What do you tell everyone that had that bad weekend that's waking up foggy right now? Hey, pump the brakes, pal. You're betting into a number that there's no room either which way.
Jeff, you can't tell them anything. You can't, because people are going to be people. Humans are going to be humans. They're going to do what they want. Our natural chemistry, our natural makeup from when we were little kids. I think I said it in the space, playing Monopoly with our dad, checkers with our parents, life, operation, stickball, whatever, pickup ball, whatever it is. Our mental makeup, the human makeup is to win, to win, to win. So I can't tell them anything. They're going to bet, and no matter what, they're going to watch the championship game, and every person is going to have a bet on this game tonight. There's really hardly any fans anymore. Everyone's now a gambler because it's so socially acceptable across this great nation. Everyone's going to have a bet on the game. Now, listen, people are going to say, my grandmother didn't have a bet on the game. She loves Notre Dame. I'm not talking about grandma. I'm talking about everyone else having some kind of action on the game. It's a very efficient market right now, of course, game time. Unless something goes to a keyer number of maybe 10 or something, I won't be. When the line came out, I understand. I actually put a bet in a couple of weeks ago when all 4 teams were announced, and I bet over at the Westgate. I bet Ohio State minus $1.10. It was minus $1.20 at Circa, minus $1.30 at some other places, but they had some good value minus $1.10. So I'm going to stick with my position. I am not hedging with the plus. And guess what? Notre Dame easily can beat them outright. I understand. That's great. I had a good bet. I had a mathematical good bet. I have a whole drawer full of losing tickets that were positive EV. But in the end of the year, as long as my pocket has the cash from more tickets than losers, and of course, I've never had a losing season. So to be honest with you, I really never even had a losing quarter. It's really hard to lose when you're betting NFL prop bets, when you're betting, getting ahead of the market Sunday night, Monday mornings, when you're literally beating the markets up that are inefficient early in the week, even for little amounts of money. I have plenty of places to bet at. That's the key. That's the key, having a lot of places, a lot of different line sets. So there's nothing I can really tell them on tonight's game. They're going to bet no matter what. I told you when I came on, I was a little perturbed still about people telling me that games are fixed and telling NFL, oh God, I mean, come on, division games, wild card games, just say the Super Bowl's fixed. I mean, it's just, but there are a couple bad eggs. The guy in the NFL, the NBA that, is texting his friends like an idiot, and telling him he's not going to play this and that, ruining his own NBA career for a couple $1,000. I mean, there are some idiots out there that put that in people's heads and they immediately say everything's fixed, and even the NBA ref, whatever, 20 years ago, fixing some games. So that gets out there and everything is automatically fixed. I kind of understand a little bit why people think that, but it's just hard for me to believe they believe it in big sports with big names that are making, tens of millions of dollars per year. But it's the natural chemistry. It's our natural makeup. Like I said, from little kid, we're taught to win. When we lose, we get mad and we want to just double up and triple up. And it's the reason why these multi-billion-dollar casinos are here. How many times is it said in a casino, let me just get even and I'll go home for the night and I won't gamble no more. Like it's just you can't stop it. You can't stop. Humans are going to be humans.
Last question. This is a curveball. Not a curveball. I spend a lot of time at the Grandview when I go out to Vegas, right across from one of our favorite spots, of course, Billy, and that's the South Point. The Coronado Cafe has this, I think it's from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
12 to 6.
Special. New York strip, 2 eggs, coffee, and toast. I think it's $7.99 or $8.99.
$6.99.
$6.99. And I'm the early riser, Billy. I'm the 4 a.m., 4:30 riser, and I'm the guy grabbing my meal to go at 7 p.m. and decompressing. But when I do get up that early, I fly across the street. The greatest special in Vegas. Any late night go-tos? I know you're not a late guy like
I'm not.
But do you know, other than the Coronado Cafe, if someone coming into town is one of those late night guys, where they might find specials like that?
So, my nieces were here, and they're kids, they're late night kids. They want to go to shows, and they're 20. Boy, she's 21 now. Jeez, I think 21 and 23. And I took them to some shows. I dropped them off they want to go to the hockey game. I got them the greatest seats, and they went to a hockey game. I got them tickets to Usher and tickets to some other shows they wanted to go to. My wife went along with them to a couple of the shows. And when the shows were over, it's 11 o'clock. So where do you go? I said, well, we got to go to Coronado Cafe at the South Point. So we go to South Point, and of course, I get there. And I never realized that people line up at 11:30. There's a line for that 12 o'clock special. So they said, are you here for the specials or are you here for regular food? And let me just be blunt. I'm not waiting in no lines like that for specials. And by the way, they're great specials, but I'm just there for the regular food. But I went 2 nights in a row and I took a video of one of them. Wow. There was 200 people online wrapped around to get in for the 12 o'clock special. So it's a great thing to bring people in. They had like a $5 burger. By the way, the food's great there, so it's not like you're lining up for junk. They had, I forget what else they had. They had about 10 different items, though. One of the steak and eggs is probably the leader for $7, $6.99. But even if they are loss leaders, which on the food itself, they're probably breaking even. But then there's the staff, there's the lights, the electric, the rent on the property. There's everything built in. It's probably a loss leader. It brings people in, and they're going to throw a few bucks in a slot machine or something. Or they can tell their friends about, they went to this place. And, word of mouth is the best form of advertisement. So I love that place. And if I'm picking somewhere to go 24/7, I'm going to the Coronado Cafe. You're right. But if you're downtown, I like Jerry's Nugget. They have a 24-hour coffee shop. Of course, you have to bring an Uzi, but it doesn't matter. It's good food. But yeah, there's a couple places, and I miss the coffee shop. I miss the 24/7 coffee shop. You ask these kids today, You ask someone where a coffee shop is, and they'll say, "Oh, Starbucks is right there." You know, they don't even know what coffee shop means. They don't know what that means. Like a diner type of a restaurant that's open 24/7. And I really can't name too many because especially during football season, I go to bed by like I like to be in bed by like 11. I used to, by the way, I was a nocturnal person. I used to be up to 1, 2, 3 in the morning every morning. But since I'm involved in sports betting and I have to be up early for markets and stuff, and I'm in bed by 11 normally, 11:30, and but I miss those 24/7 places. There's a restaurant that's actually a regular restaurant on, oh boy, is it Sahara or Charleston? It's one of the two. It's Sahara. It's Sahara. The Herbs and Rye. Herbs and Rye has great steaks, and they have a happy hour, I think, but from when they open the door, you'll have to check. I think it's between 5 and 6, half price steaks, and midnight to 3 a.m. half price steaks. I think that's the hours. People have to check. Just something I'm thinking, late night place, but that place is just good. That's the old. It used to be called the Venetian restaurant. It was called the Venetian back in the 60s and 70s. It's where Frank Sinatra and a lot of the town went to that place. That was one of the old school joints there. But as far as I'm sure there is other 24/7 cafes. Oh, there is. The Durango has a place called the George. The George, that's 24/7. Very good. Overlooking the beautiful sports book there. I try to talk good and bad about everything, even though I'm not allowed to play in the sports book. I do love that view of the sports book, and I like the restaurant there. That's a great cafe and a great casino. So there's a couple for you.
Scroll is going the whole time at Bill Crackman, at Fox Sports Radio, at Crack Wins. We always end this segment, Billy. Tell them where they can find all your work, your app, and of course your appearances on VSiN, Fox Sports Radio.
Yes, Thursday mornings on VSiN, 8 to 9 with Gil Alexander. Of course, at Fox Sports Radio on the weekend, countdown to kickoff, and of course on Twitter at Bill Crackman, at Crack Wins. And also the Crack Wins website, crackwins.com. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. I appreciate anyone watching and following. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Billy. Have an amazing week. We'll catch up throughout the week, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
The one and only Bill Krackomberger. Go follow him at Bill Crackman. A couple quick commercial breaks, and then we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, baby, higher.
Oh, what a way to start the week. We're blessed. We really are to have Billy here. No one in the planet, in the world, starts the week with Bill Krackomberger other than ourselves. Now he'll be on a half dozen other places. He'll be on VSiN. He'll be on Fox Sports Radio. My point is, you start the week right here with Billy, and we can't thank him enough. Shout out, of course, to Richie Poplis, Mr. Russell Saylor, everyone else watching and listening. I'm just going to talk for a few seconds here as I'm watching here. And let's be real here. All these sports books do listen to this show as we're talking right now. Circa and Sportsbook and the Superbook, excuse me, just moved Kansas City to 2. DraftKings has now moved it to 2.5. What they're doing right now is they're setting up the game. Again, the Ravens would have opened 1.5 point favorites. Okay, if they would have won that game, that was the look ahead line. They would have got instantaneously all the Kansas City money, and it would have been a pick 'em. They're saying this opened as a pick. I'm gonna say technically, yes, they opened it as a pick. They immediately got the Kansas City money. Now across the nation, the world, it is a flat 2.5 at DraftKings. They're finding the sweet spot now so everyone can run in and grab the Bills. This will never see 3. I don't even think it will. DraftKings is 2.5, okay? But my point is it might tip to 2.5. Then in comes the Buffalo money. This will probably land at Kansas City 1.5 by kickoff there. Philadelphia went from 5, and Jeffrey Benson has now moved Philadelphia to 6 with a 48. He's the only person in the world right now that has a flat 6. Everywhere else in Vegas is a 5.5, and Bookmaker right now is a 5. Okay, so again, if you liked Kansas City, you're going to have to sit and wait till it comes back to 1.5, or you play a money line. If you like the rematch, Philly versus Kansas City of a couple of years ago, you can play a money line parlay right now. As for the Ohio State Notre Dame, 8.5 with a 45. It's two tails. Do they get that muck game? Freeman has coached against Ohio State twice. He's been able to get that muck game. So in other words, go back to Ohio State, Michigan. If Notre Dame can duplicate that, Notre Dame will cover the 8.5 and will have an opportunity to win this game outright. If it is the Tennessee Vols or the Oregon Ducks in the first half and Ohio State gets out 14-3, 17-7, tough task for Notre Dame to play catch up with that defense of Ohio State. A tip ball, interception, strip sack, like in the Texas game, and this could get out of hand a la TCU and Georgia a few years ago there. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Andrew McGinnis will be back talking some NHL. Wednesday, Brady Kannon will be back at 11 a.m. to talk Torrey Pines, a couple big names out on the PGA there. Listen, guys, a couple more weeks of football. That's it. This is the last college football game tonight. And then we have championship Sunday next week. And then we'll have that week off for the Super Bowl in New Orleans, February 9th for the Super Bowl. And then February 10th in our lanes is called Black Monday as corporate America begins again to cut. You'll see a lot of people in our lanes out of work, looking for their next gig. It's a tough lanes that we're in. We're blessed to be in our 10th year of public service. Where we go, who the hell knows? The window of opportunity was in 13 and 14. We answered the door, and from here on in, we go through the back door in the window. So I can't thank everyone enough. Love you guys. If you haven't already, head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. Tell a friend. Subscribe. Come on back to EC Sports Invest. Follow us there. Turn on the notifications and never, ever miss a show. Shout out to Live Zone. Thank you so much for setting us up for the week, and we will see you soon. Behave, everyone.